Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine for a moment that your mind is like a garden. Every thought you plant, every idea you nurture will determine the harvest you reap. Now, what if I told you that most people are walking around with weeds growing in their minds? Negative thoughts, doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that silently destroy their chances of success. Today, I'm going to show you how to brainwash yourself for success and destroy those negative thoughts so you can finally live the life you've been destined for. And I promise, this isn't fluff. These are principles that have created millionaires, leaders, and unstoppable achievers. Your mind is the most powerful asset you own, and how you treat it determines every result in your life. Think about it. Your thoughts are like seeds planted in a garden, and every single thought you entertain has the potential to grow into reality. Now here's the hook. Most people are walking around with mental gardens overrun by weeds, doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that silently sabotage their success. Imagine spending decades nurturing thoughts like, I can't, I'm not enough, or this is impossible, and then wondering why your life doesn't match your desires. The truth is simple. You reap what you plant. If you plant seeds of negativity, disappointment, and fear, don't be shocked when your harvest reflects that. But here's the golden secret. The same law applies in reverse. If you intentionally plant seeds of success, confidence, and belief, your life will inevitably begin to reflect those seeds. Every thought you allow into your mind is a vote for the reality you're creating. Some people underestimate this power, thinking it's just a thought, it doesn't matter. Let me tell you something. The thoughts you repeat to yourself daily shape your subconscious beliefs, and your subconscious beliefs shape your actions. Actions produce results. Results produce experiences, and experiences reinforce your beliefs. You see, your mind doesn't distinguish between imagined success and real success. It simply acts on what it's conditioned to accept as truth. Here's a hook for you. If you feed your mind visions of success, your subconscious will begin to align your behaviors, decisions, and habits to make that vision real. You must learn to be intentional about the seeds you plant. Success doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. You cannot leave your mental garden unattended and expect it to yield abundance. Every time you think a thought, ask yourself, is this thought empowering me, or is it holding me back? If it's the latter, uproot it immediately and replace it with a thought that fuels growth. For instance, when fear tells you you're not ready, answer with, I am capable, I am prepared, and I am learning every day. When doubt whispers, you'll fail, respond with, every step I take brings me closer to mastery. That's not just positive thinking. That's strategic mental conditioning. Another powerful truth is that repetition compounds impact. A single positive thought is like a seed. It may sprout, but it won't grow into a strong tree overnight. You must water your mental seeds consistently. Affirmations, visualization, reading, and surrounding yourself with empowering content act as water and sunlight for your mental garden. Here's the hook. The more deliberate and consistent you are with what you feed your mind, the faster and stronger your mental transformation becomes. Negative thoughts will try to creep back in. They always do. But the stronger your mental conditioning, the less power they will have. Each time you choose a productive, empowering thought over a destructive one, you reinforce neural pathways that make success your default mode. Your mind is also highly impressionable, especially during moments of stress, doubt, or uncertainty. Those are the moments when weeds try to grow the fastest. Here's the key. The way you respond during those moments determines whether you cultivate failure or plant seeds of victory. Train yourself to recognize these moments, pause, and consciously choose a thought that serves your purpose. Success comes to those who master this internal discipline. Remember, nobody can control your thoughts but you. Your external circumstances cannot plant seeds in your mind unless you allow them to. You hold the power to create the garden you want, and with intention, patience, and repetition, you can cultivate a mental ecosystem so fertile that negativity has nowhere to grow. The most successful people in the world understand this principle. They know that their thoughts, words, and beliefs are not just reflections of reality. They are the architects of it. They intentionally plant ideas of abundance, capability, and excellence, and then nurture those ideas until they manifest in their actions and results. You can do the same. The question is, will you allow your mind to be overrun by weeds, or will you take control, plant the seeds of greatness, and water them daily until your garden flourishes beyond imagination? The choice is yours, and it starts with the simple but powerful act of controlling the seeds you plant in your mind right now. Negative thoughts are like invisible chains, quietly holding you back from the success you're capable of achieving. Most people don't even realize how much power these thoughts have over their lives. They think it's just in my head, it doesn't matter, but that is a trap. Every time you entertain a negative thought, you're essentially telling your brain to act as if that limitation is real. Here's the hook. Your brain doesn't care if it's fact or fiction. It simply responds to the messages you feed it. If you keep telling yourself you're not enough, that you'll fail, or that opportunities are always against you, your mind will organize your behaviors, habits, and even choices to make that narrative come true. The key is learning how to intercept those thoughts before they gain momentum and turn into actions that reinforce failure. Confronting negative thoughts is not a one-time act, it's a daily discipline. Every time a thought of fear, doubt, or limitation arises, you must immediately challenge it. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Does it serve me? Does it bring me closer to my goals? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. But here's the critical hook. Recognizing a thought is not enough. You must replace it with a thought that empowers you, a thought so compelling that it leaves no room for negativity to grow. When fear whispers, you can't do this, your brain needs to hear, I am learning, I am capable, I am unstoppable. This isn't just positive thinking, it's mental reprogramming. Every time you replace a negative thought with an empowering one, you're literally rewiring your brain for success. Repetition is the secret weapon. Your brain learns through what it experiences most often. If you consistently dwell on failure, you're training your subconscious to expect failure. But if you consistently feed it thoughts of resilience, capability, and opportunity, your brain begins to treat those as reality. Here's the hook. The mind cannot distinguish between repeated mental practice and real life experience. If you practice thinking success-oriented thoughts, your confidence grows, your decision-making improves, and your actions begin to align with the person you envision becoming. This is why the most successful people are relentless in controlling their inner dialogue. They understand that thoughts are the blueprint for reality. Environment and association play a massive role in shaping your internal thought patterns. If you constantly absorb negative influences from pessimistic people, fear-driven media, or limiting social circles, your mind will mirror that environment. But if you deliberately immerse yourself in success, focused content, mentors, and communities, your brain begins to internalize these empowering messages. Here's a hook: your mind is like a sponge. It will absorb whatever it is exposed to most. Surround yourself with positive reinforcement, stories of triumph, and lessons from those who have achieved what you desire, and your thoughts will naturally shift toward belief, confidence, and action. Another essential strategy is the use of visualization and affirmation. When a negative thought arises, take control by vividly imagining yourself succeeding in the very situation that triggered doubt. Speak affirmations that are specific, powerful, and aligned with your goals. Instead of simply saying, "I am successful," say, "I am confidently achieving my goals every day, attracting opportunities, and taking decisive action to grow my wealth and influence." Here's the hook. Your subconscious mind responds not to vague wishes, but to specific, emotionally charged images and statements. By reinforcing empowering thoughts consistently, you effectively overwrite the negative programs that once controlled your behavior. Finally, understand that this is a practice of awareness and discipline. Negative thoughts will always try to sneak in. They are wired into human survival instincts. But you have the power to decide which thoughts dominate. The more intentional, consistent, and precise you are in replacing negative thoughts with empowering ones, the faster your mental transformation occurs. Your results, your opportunities, and your success are all a reflection of the thoughts you choose to nurture. When you master this practice, you don't just think differently, you act differently, make better decisions, and achieve outcomes that once seemed impossible. Your environment, the people you surround yourself with, and the content you consume are far more powerful than most people realize. You are a product of the vibrations, thoughts, and energies you consistently expose yourself to. And if you want to succeed, you must take control of what influences your mind. Here's a hook. The average person spends hours each day absorbing negativity without even noticing it. News that feeds fear, conversations that breed doubt, and social media that reinforces limitation. Yet, the same person wonders why their results are stagnant or their dreams feel unreachable. Your environment silently programs your subconscious. If you are constantly exposed to pessimism, fear, or mediocrity, your mind will internalize those messages and act in alignment with them. On the flip side, if you immerse yourself in stories of triumph, wisdom from successful mentors, and empowering content, your mind will naturally align with excellence, opportunity, and action. Mentorship and association are not optional, they are essential. When you spend time with people who think big, take massive action, and refuse to accept limitation, your subconscious absorbs that energy and begins to adopt similar behaviors. Conversely, spending time with naysayers and people who complain about life will only reinforce limiting beliefs. Here's the hook. Your success is not just about what you know, it's about who you allow to influence your thinking. Choose your circle wisely because your mind is highly impressionable. Just as a sponge absorbs water, your thoughts, habits, and decisions will mirror the energy of those around you. This is why successful people are very intentional about their associations. They guard their mental space as fiercely as they guard their finances. Content consumption is another critical factor. The books you read, the videos you watch, and the podcasts you listen to all program your mind, whether you realize it or not. If you feed your brain negativity, fear, or limitation, you will reinforce those patterns internally. But if you deliberately consume content that teaches, inspires, and stretches your thinking, your brain begins to operate at a higher level. Here's a hook. The mind cannot differentiate between imagined knowledge absorbed through reading or hearing and real-world experience. It will act on it as if it's reality. That means the right content can elevate your confidence, expand your creativity, and accelerate your growth faster than any casual experience ever could. Visualization and mental rehearsal are also powerful tools in shaping your environment internally. When you immerse your mind in scenarios of success, abundance, and achievement, you are creating a mental ecosystem where negative thoughts have no room to grow. Imagine yourself confidently navigating challenges, achieving your goals, and seizing opportunities. See it, feel it, and affirm it until your brain begins to treat it as reality. Here's the hook. Repetition of empowering mental images rewires your subconscious and prepares your mind to act in alignment with your highest vision. It is not daydreaming. It is strategic programming that shifts your behaviors, decisions, and results. Discipline in curating your environment is a daily choice. It's not enough to occasionally read a motivational book or listen to a powerful speech. Consistent exposure is what rewires the mind. Your mental garden must be tended every day. Weed out negativity, prune limiting influences, and water yourself with empowering messages, mentorship, and relationships that elevate your thinking. Here's the hook. The more intentional you are in designing your environment, the faster your internal transformation occurs, and the sooner your external results begin to reflect that internal growth. Finally, understand that you are in control. Your external circumstances cannot force negativity into your mind unless you allow it. By consciously selecting the people, environments, and content you expose yourself to, you create a mental space where success thrives naturally. Negative influences lose their power when your environment reinforces your goals, your vision, and your belief in yourself. Your mind becomes a fortress of positivity, strategy, and clarity, programmed to recognize opportunities, take action, and achieve results that once seemed impossible. Thoughts alone, no matter how powerful, will never create the results you desire unless they are paired with consistent action. This is a principle many people overlook. They spend hours thinking, planning, and visualizing, yet fail to take the steps necessary to bring their visions into reality. Here's a hook. Action is the bridge between your mental conditioning and your tangible success. You can feed your mind every day with empowering thoughts, affirmations, and visualizations. But if you don't translate that energy into decisive, consistent action, those thoughts remain dormant, like seeds planted but never watered. Every small, deliberate step you take toward your goals reinforces your belief in your abilities and proves to your subconscious mind that you are serious about your success. Consistency is the secret ingredient that separates dreamers from achievers. Taking action sporadically produces inconsistent results, and your brain cannot fully internalize the belief that success is inevitable. But when you commit to consistent, purposeful action, your mind begins to align with your behavior, creating a feedback loop of confidence, momentum, and progress. Here's the hook. Your subconscious mind learns through repeated experiences. Every time you act in alignment with your goals, your brain strengthens the neural pathways that support success, making it easier and more natural to continue taking action in the future. This is how ordinary people transform into extraordinary achievers. Another critical point is the quality of your actions. It's not enough to act randomly or half-heartedly. You must act strategically with intention, clarity, and focus. Each decision, each task, and each effort should serve a purpose aligned with your ultimate vision. Here's a hook the brain treats repeated purposeful action as a signal that the desired outcome is important and achievable. By consistently acting in ways that reinforce your success mindset, you're effectively programming your subconscious to recognize opportunities, solve problems, and overcome obstacles without hesitation. This turns you into a magnet for success because your actions are now aligned with the empowered thoughts you've cultivated. Accountability is another vital component. Taking action in isolation can be difficult, and many people falter when they try to go it alone. Surround yourself with mentors, peers, or accountability partners who hold you to your commitments, challenge you to go further, and celebrate your progress. Here's the hook. When you combine mental conditioning with a support system that enforces discipline, your actions become more consistent, more focused, and more impactful. Accountability transforms abstract intentions into tangible results and ensures that your thoughts and beliefs are matched by meaningful steps forward. Momentum is built through repeated, decisive action. Every step you take toward your goal reinforces the belief that success is not just possible, but inevitable. Your mind begins to internalize that momentum, recognizing patterns of achievement and opportunity that were previously invisible. Here's the hook. Action creates energy, and energy attracts results. The more consistently you act, the more your brain interprets those actions as evidence that you are capable, competent, and deserving of success. Negative thoughts lose their power because your actions are louder, stronger, and undeniable. Finally, understand that true transformation happens when thought and action are inseparable. Feeding your mind with empowering ideas, immersing yourself in success-focused environments, and replacing negative thoughts with positive ones are all critical, but they reach their full potential only when matched with consistent, deliberate action. Each step, no matter how small, compounds over time, reinforcing your belief in yourself and building a life that reflects your vision. Here's the hook. You cannot wait for motivation to act. You must act to create motivation. Action proves your commitment, solidifies your mental conditioning, and propels you into levels of success you once only imagined.